Hello everybody and welcome to the Family Business with the Alessis. My name is Mary Alessi and we're actually getting ready for an amazing summer here with our podcast. So this summer we want to hear some of your favorite family stories. So let us know on our social media platforms or our text line some of your favorite stories, because we're also going to be sharing some of our favorite family stories with you. So let's make this summer memorable by you sharing your stories with us and we are sharing your stories with you. But in the meantime, remember, family is everybody's business.
And between Miami and Orlando is where we're at in Stewart, 2 hours north of Miami. And we're there resting, getting back on our feet. So this must have been 3 weeks, 4 weeks after the heart attack. Now, I didn't like being alone because I always felt, wow, what happens if something occurs? So I was real scared about that. So I'm losing all these freedoms, right? Feeling like a child. And then Mary says to me, hey, listen, I'd like to go to my sister's wedding, but if you don't want me to, then I won't. But I'd like to go. And I'm like, no, you got to go, Mary. She goes, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I think I can be all right. I'll be alone. If you just drive up, come back, I should be alone. She goes, no. I've already talked to Maury. David and Maury are going to come up. David's going to stay with you, and Maury's going to take me to Orlando for the wedding. Now, at first, I said to her, great, because I'm thinking I want to hang out with David. I've been with Mary all this time. I need something normal in my life, so bring on a friend. And so I felt good, but then I remember going to sleep that night and feeling like, oh my God, am I this weak that I now need a babysitter?
Oh.
Because I couldn't be left alone. Mary was afraid to leave me alone. So I wrestled with you coming up because I was feeling like I was losing all of my independence. Now I'm so dependent upon medicine, eating the right kind of food, workout regimen, and now I need a guy to come babysit me. So I'm wrestling with that. Then you come up and you're like, I'm thinking we're chilling, watching TV or whatever. And you're like, let's go play golf. And I'm like, that's the worst thing. But maybe I do need to get out. So we go to this golf course and we're out there and you pull out a cigar because we enjoy a nice cigar every so often. And you pull out a cigar. And I remember the doctor, of course, saying you can't smoke cigars. You can't, smoke this, that, and the other. At least at this point.
Right.
And you're smoking that cigar, and I'm getting pissed because I'm like, here I am again. I'm restricted. I can't have a cigar. So now we're on the golf course. You're smoking a cigar. We pull up to the green. Tell the story when you put your cigar down.
Well, first, I think if I would probably been a better friend, I probably wouldn't have pulled out the cigar, because now that you're looking at it and you're feeling all these restrictions, of course, I'm not smart enough to see that. I'm like, well, I'm going to enjoy it now while I can. I guess it's a little bit selfif.
Yeah, but you were drowning in your own sorrow, man.
Yeah,
you needed to relax.
I can look and make all kinds of excuses, but a better friend probably would have just chilled out there. But in any case, so we're my thought process was I need to get this guy out of the house, because when I see you, knowing your personality and knowing that sometimes things got to just get to normal and you got to have some fun, you got to have a laugh. And I think that's where it comes in, where God only gives us so much we can handle, and he gives us some kind of levity and, with something funny. But we pull up to the green, which, at that time I wasn't as good a golfer as I am now. So it was probably after 6 or 7 shots to get to the green. And so we pull up to the green, and I leave my cigar on the cup holder. And we go up to the green, and I'm putting, and I could see the card out in the left corner of my eye. I'm about to hit the ball, and I see this huge crow. I mean, at the time, it looked like a vulture. I think it was maybe this big. And all of a sudden, he flies in the cart, and I'm thinking, we don't have any, I don't think we had any food. And
definitely not chips. Couldn't have.
Yeah, no. So all of a sudden, he grabs the cigar in his beak. And I'm like, and I think I got more mad that it was my cigar instead of food because it was an expensive cigar. I remember it was back then when we had the Torontos that would come in the glass tube.
Yes.
And they were expensive for us back then. And especially that, we had just lost the business. I'm thinking, that's a $25 cigar there. And so the crow comes in and just grabs it in his beak. And what was really interesting, it wasn't sticking straight out, sticking sideways like it was a gangster crow. And it was... it was like, and I'm like, I go to hit the ball and I'm looking at the crow like, hey. So I go running up this crow just flaps his wing. And I promise you, he's looking down at me laughing.
Right.
And I'm looking up this crow and he goes and he lands in a tree. And he's just sitting there with this big cigar. It honestly looked like a scene from The Godfather.
Oh my God.
And I would not believe, if you told me that story, as much as I trust you, I probably would think he saw something weird if I wouldn't have been there to see it myself. But this bird is up there like this going, ah! Ah! With his cigar hanging out. I'm thinking, what kind of sight is this? So anyway, we had such a good laugh.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking to myself, it was probably the first time you had laughed, like
David.
Genuinely laughed.
Oh, we almost peed our pants,
oh
man.
my gosh.
And then you're throwing rocks at it to try to get to drop the cigar.
Yeah, so I think I threw a couple golf balls at him too. I'm trying to get him at least to drop it, and the thing just flies off. And
With the cigar,
he wouldn't drop it. I don't know if he's trying to make a nest with cigars. He's probably thinking this is much easier than getting twigs. These things fit together perfectly, just like they are in the box.
And the point of it all, when it's all said and done, it's almost as though the crow looked over its shoulders and flew away and looked at you and said, well, if Steve can't smoke a cigar, neither will you.
Yeah.
So that was one of the comic reliefs that we were able to enjoy, but that was a memory, man.
That was an incredible memory. I still can visualize that crow looking at me. I mean, telling you he was staring right at me with the message. And maybe it was that message.
That message. You have a great story about when we were in Georgia, going down to look at this beautiful blue water spring, and what happened?
So I was raised by a grandfather that liked to get out in the woods and taught us a lot about the woods. So I hadn't been in the woods in years, but when we started building our house out there, immediately everything that I knew as a girl, being in that familiar environment, all flooded back. So I would say to you, we need snake boots. We need to walk through the woods with a stick. And you're like, what? We need a stick for? Oh, I remembered all that knowledge of what to look for and how to look for snakes came flooding back. And you know the patterns, you know the temperature and the environment, the habitat for snakes. So we went to look. Now, mind you, we tromped through our own property. We tromped through other people's property. We had not seen any snakes. But I also would tell you, walk heavy because snakes feel the vibration.
Stomp on the ground.
Stomp on the ground. And you laughed at me. Some of our friends laughed at me. I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. I can spot snakes. I've seen them. My grandfather has taught me how to see them.
Yeah.
And so we went to go pick up some lumber from a neighbor.
Yep.
And our contractor, who's from Georgia, all these guys are Georgia boys, met us out there. And it's very remote.
Like 5 or 6 of us walking in through the woods.
All men. I'm the only girl.
Yep.
And we're walking through, and I immediately, he says, I'd like for you guys to see my Blue Lagoon.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and it's down through this little pathway. So we're walking through this very woodsy area down to this water. And all I can think of is snakes. Not out of fear. I was not afraid.
Yeah.
Because I had everything I needed to protect myself. We all did. But I started looking. And as the story goes, our friend was standing right next to I think it was a cottonmouth.
No, we're all there looking at the beautiful water.
Yes.
All the guys
Everybody's
were mesmerized by the water. That's it. And we're just staring down into this dark hole of water. And there you are saying,
don't move, there's a snake right behind your foot. Okay, now, do we have time to tell that story?
Tell that story.
Because I would like to tell that story.
Tell that story.
We were all back together at the farmhouse. We were so excited. Martha and Danny and the kids and Mom came, and we were going to make our famous big Southern Thanksgiving. We have a routine. We've been together at Thanksgiving a lot. And so we had just been, I think, with your mom. Had your dad passed? That was when your father had passed. Anyway, and we were talking about how people give, the different ways they give. Some people like to give birthday presents and birthday gifts, little things, and other people give bigger gifts.
This is Thanksgiving morning.
So he and I had been
cooking,
talking
breakfast, everything's
about
going
the
on. Beautiful
way
morning.
people give. So we're having this beautiful morning, and you were at your cottage, and Martha and I were cooking, and you were going to come over and make your stuffing, and you came over and you looked so good, and all of us were ready to go.
Always.
And the conversation was about the different ways people give. And you walk in, and Steve goes, Faith, you're not much of a giver, are you? And we were like, what? And I was mixing mashed potato, and I was like, and Martha just froze, like, what is he doing? And you said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, like my mom, she gives birthday cards every year and anniversary cards, and you don't really do that. What we were saying was the different ways of giving. Some people, they give little throughout the year, and other people give bigger one-time gifts, like stroke a big check to help out. But he didn't clarify the conversation you'd walked in on. So it just sounded like he just out of nowhere said, bloop, you're not much of a giver. And he doesn't rectify. I mean, he feels the room go cold. He sees your face like, what? And he just is like, yeah, right? And we're like, no. And at that point, I knew that if he felt, if I had embarrassed him, that he messed up in front of you and Martha, he would double down. And then we're cooking, and we don't need that atmosphere of conflict with him doubling down. And I see Martha, and she can read my mind because we're twins, but we can't even catch ourselves to go, no, that's not what he meant. It was just such a weird moment, and you walk out.
Yes.
You got mad and you walked out, which is not usually your style. And so as soon as you walked out, Martha and I both just went, what were you thinking? What did you say? He's like, what? What did I say? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything. That's not what I meant. And it was really hard to regroup.
Yeah. No, but she did. Your mom.
But then you walked back in with a smile on your face.
Yep.
And of course, Martha had to walk over and say, please don't listen to Steve. He did not mean it. And I'm texting Steve, because I didn't want there to be a conflict. So I'm texting him going, you got to go fix this. You said it wrong. What did I say? You just got to fix it. It sounded like this, just to reduce conflict. And it turned out to be.
And I blamed it on the fact that you never raised sons.
Oh, yeah, see?
Well, I think
you needed more boys in the family.
This just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, it wasn't something that severed anything. It was a bump in the road.
Right.
Because we knew each other's heart.
Right.
He wouldn't intentionally hurt me, even though he hurt my feelings.
Yes, he did. He hurt my feelings.
What? It wasn't fatal.
No.
It wasn't fatal.
No.
I mean, I'll kill him tomorrow and tell God he died.
Heart attack.
Had a heart attack.
No, Faith, more than anything, I wish people can catch hold of this fact that, in family, it's a messy business.
Oh,
we say it's
yeah.
everybody's business.
Yeah.
It's a messy
Yeah.
business.
It's hard.
And everybody just got to take responsibility for themselves. Overall, hopefully they're wanting to preserve the family relationship, because there's going to be a lot of people come into our lives and a lot of people go out of our lives. But when we're older and we slow down a little bit, some of the people we really want to be around us is our family.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and click on the notifications bell so you can be notified for all of our future videos. And if you loved today's topic, we have plenty more. And you can click on this link right here to watch all of our videos so you can learn why family is everybody's business.